Hello, Clint Jolly here from Butcher Boy, out and hanging out in the backyard. Nice sunny day. Gonna talk about grilling. I want to give you some tips so you guys can turn out some really awesome meals in your own backyard at home. Some foolproof ways to barbecue a chicken today. So we're gonna keep it kind of simple because you can go all sorts of directions with chicken, right? Takes all kinds of flavor, all kinds of seasoning. But one thing that we like to suggest, if you aren't gonna do a marinade, like absurd chicken marinade from these guys, local guys, we love them. If you want to do like a little bit more traditional and a barbecue rubbed chicken, then we want to brine it first. So what a brine is going to be really simple to start is salt and sugar dissolved into water. And what that's going to do, not only is it going to add some flavor to the chicken, but it's also going to add moisture. So that salt and the sugar is going to help flavor the chicken, and the water is going to make sure that it stays nice and moist. That way you don't get dry chicken on the grill, because nobody wants that. So we suggest doing this like overnight or do it in the morning for the afternoon. Really simple basic brine recipe. For about a quart of water, we're going to have about 3/4 of a cup of sugar, and we're going to have about 3/4 of a cup of salt. Kosher salt, sea salt, preferably not iodized, because iodized is going to give it a little bit of off flavor. And we're just going to dissolve that in the water. Real simple here. And we soak the chicken in that. And like I said, you can do that in the morning or do it overnight, up to 24 hours. You don't want to go much longer than that, but you know, good 6 or 8 at least on a cut up chicken. So once that brine there is all dissolved, you can also add a lot of flavor, other flavors, aromatics to this. You can add some bay leaves, you can add some garlic, chili peppers. If you want to do, you know, cloves, mustard seed, coriander, those sort of flavors. Anything that will add some aromatics and some flavor to it will help. But just the basic brine like that and a rub afterwards is going to come out awesome. So once we get that dissolved, we're just going to put that chicken right in the water. You're going to cover it up and you're going to throw that guy in the fridge for, like I said, at least 6 hours, up to 24. You can do it the day before, the night before, real easy. Then once that sits, we're going to come back, we're going to put some rub on that and then hit the grill with it. So after this chicken's been in the brine 6 hours or so, or overnight, we're going to pull that out. We're going to pat it dry a little bit. If you do it far enough ahead of time, you can just put it on a sheet pan in the fridge. The goal here is just to get the skin dried up a little bit so the seasoning sticks a little bit better. We don't want all that moisture on there. But since we're just coming out of the brine, we're just going to take some paper towels and give it a nice little pat there. One thing, we definitely don't recommend washing chicken. Kind of an old wives' tale about washing chicken, but if you do wash your chicken, all you end up doing is adding more moisture to it. Without that salt and sugar, it's not helping. And also just spreading the bacteria all around, so no need to do that. So we're gonna give these a nice rub with our Butcher Boy feather and foul poultry seasoning. Super good, kind of classic poultry flavors in there. It's got some chilies, salt, garlic, parsley, peppers, etc. Lots of good stuff. And we're just going to give this a good shake all over, both sides. Make sure you get the bone side, the skin side, because as Emeril Lagasse says, our chicken doesn't come pre-seasoned, so we definitely need to make sure it gets seasoned all around. So now that we've got the chicken rubbed, we let that seasoning sit there for just 5 or 10 minutes, let it soak in and make sure it sticks nice. Our grill, we're going to start out with it on hot. Because what we want to do is we want to put this on there and kind of sear the outside a little bit. So you'll hear a nice sizzle when we drop it on there. And with this gas grill, it's got little burner shields in it. So what we want to do is put it over those shields, and that's going to help reduce the flare-ups. Like if it was right over the flames themselves, it tends to flare up a little bit much. And where we can, like on the thighs and the breast, we're putting that skin side down first. That skin side down on the high heat is going to get a nice crust going, and it's going to help us start getting it cooked without it sticking to the grill. And that's it. At high heat, we're going to give it about 5 to 8 minutes. Once they start getting brown, we'll show you once they start releasing off of there, they'll be ready to flip, and then we're going to turn the heat down to finish it up. So now you can see that this is brown. After about 5 minutes or so on high heat, it's going to release nice and easy off the grill. That skin won't stick because it's kind of caramelized a bit there. Actually, technically Maillard browning it's called, but we can call it caramelizing. So we'll just give those guys a flip right over, keep them in about the same spot. You can see we've definitely got some hotter spots of the grill, so we're going to put thicker pieces towards the back here on this guy. Yours at home will have the same. So you got to kind of learn to work it, figure out where the warmer spots are, and use it to your advantage. At that point, we've got the heat turned down to about medium right now. We're just going to let that roll for about 10 or 12 minutes, and we'll come back and check it, maybe give them another flip if they need it. All right, so our chicken now, as you can see, it's got nice crust. That skin is nice and crispy. The meat side, like on these thighs especially, nice and golden brown. We used a thermometer to check them. We wanted about 160 degrees on poultry. And also the wings that cook a little quicker, we put those up on that higher shelf just to kind of keep them warm, let them finish cooking slow, because they're not as thick as all the rest of these. Pull those off and slice into nice juicy chicken. So now that chicken's nice and brown, that seasoning is crusted all around it. Next thing we got to do is make sure it's nice and moist, right? So normally you're going to serve it like this, put it on a big platter, put it out on the table, but we want to show you how that brining helps keep it nice and moist. Now check out how nice and juicy this is. All kinds of juice stayed in there because of that brine, all kinds of nice flavor on the outside because of the rub. Perfect, awesome, tasty barbecue chicken.